The call came at 2:13 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was halfway through a Zoom meeting, bored out of my skull while my manager droned on about Q2 strategy. I almost ignored the call, but something in my gut made me swipe up and answer. "Mr. James Carter?" the woman asked. "Speaking. This is Wells Fargo's Mortgage Collections Department. We're following up about the default on the joint mortgage you co-signed for 732 Hillside Drive." I stopped listening. My blood ran cold. That address wasn't mine, and I sure as hell never co-signed anyone's mortgage. "I'm sorry." "What?" I asked, standing up from my chair like someone had just lit a fire under me. "You said I co-signed what now?" "According to the documents, you're listed as the secondary on the mortgage for Angela and Mark Davidson. Payments haven't been made in 2 months." Angela and Mark Davidson. Her sister and her sister's deadbeat husband. The two people who once borrowed $12,000 from us and then went silent for 8 months. "I didn't sign a thing," I snapped. "You got the wrong guy." She paused. "Sir, we have a signed agreement with your full name and social security number. The file is notarized. If you suspect identity fraud, we recommend filing a police report." I couldn't breathe. I hung up, and then I did something I hadn't done in years. I snooped, opened her laptop. She was in the shower, probably scrubbing her sins off, humming that same Rihanna song she plays every time she's about to act like the world owes her a damn crown. The laptop wasn't even password protected. Within 60 seconds, I was staring at the PDF file that ruined every illusion I had left. Joint mortgage agreement. My name. My SSN. My forged signature, close enough to mine, but off just enough to make my stomach turn. And the notary? Her mother's best friend. Then I saw the emails. Not about the mortgage. About him. Some dude named Ty. He didn't even get a full name. Just Ty. Like he was some legendary figure in her life. Some goddamn myth. The emails weren't long, but they didn't need to be. "He doesn't even touch me anymore. I feel dead inside. You make me feel like a woman again. I can't wait till next weekend. He'll never find out. He's too soft." I stared at the screen, fist clenched so hard my nails broke skin. My mouth went dry. My vision blurred. She got out of the shower moments later, in a towel, humming her tune, walking around the bedroom like she was queen of this damn castle. "You put my name on your sister's mortgage," I said without turning around. She froze. Silence. Then, without shame, without blinking, she scoffed and said the 5 words that burned into my memory like acid. "You have no say in this." That's when something snapped in me. Not the rage, no, not yet. It was the clarity. Cold, cutting clarity that told me exactly who I was married to. I turned slowly. She had her arms crossed, still in that towel, chin up like she was the victim. "No say?" I asked calmly. "You committed fraud using my name and think I have no say?" "You're being dramatic," she said, rolling her eyes. "It's just a signature. You don't even have to do anything." They were desperate. "It's not like you're paying it." "And Ty," I said, pulling up her inbox. "Is he part of this too, or just the guy who makes you feel like a woman again?" Her eyes widened, but only for a second. Then came the venom. "You had no right to go through my stuff." "Funny," I said, voice dropping. "That's exactly how I feel about my name on that mortgage." And then I smiled. Not because anything was funny, but because right then, I decided something. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to burn the whole damn circus down. She tried to grab the laptop out of my hands, but I slammed it shut before she got close. "Don't," I said, and my voice must have sounded different because she actually took a step back. For the first time, I saw something flicker in her eyes. Was it fear? Maybe. Or maybe just the shock of a man finally waking up. "Ty is just a friend," she lied, fast and casual, like it was rehearsed. "You send all your friends photos like this?" I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshot I took of her in red lingerie, lying on a bed I didn't recognize. Her smile in that picture was one I hadn't seen in years. It wasn't the fake social media smile she gave me in couple photos. It was the real one, the one she used to give me when we first met, back when she still gave a damn. She hesitated, only for a second. "I was lonely," she said, eyes narrowing, jaw tightening. "You've been so checked out lately. All you do is work. You're obsessed with your stupid job and your money and your routines. I needed something real." I laughed. A sharp, bitter laugh that surprised even me. "You mean someone real? Ty's real, right? Real enough to sneak around within hotel rooms while I'm paying the bills." She turned cold. "You act like you're some saint. You think being quiet and working all the time makes you a good husband? You haven't touched me in weeks. I felt invisible. You forged my name on a mortgage and slept with another man, I said slowly. You're not invisible. You're radioactive. And still, she wouldn't break. I did what I had to do for my family, she said, lifting her chin. You wouldn't help Angela and Mark, so I did. And guess what? I don't regret it. I walked out of the room, my ears ringing. I needed air. I needed sanity. But all I could hear was her voice in my head. That tone, that arrogance, that complete lack of remorse. She didn't even say sorry. Not once. When I came back inside, she was on the phone. With her mother. Crying. He's acting crazy, Mom, she said, fake sobbing. I don't feel safe. He found out about the mortgage, and now he's threatening me. I stood in the doorway, stunned. She looked me dead in the eyes and didn't stop. I think he's going to hit me. I stepped back like she'd slapped me. What the hell are you doing? I asked. She hung up and crossed her arms, covering myself. Just in case. That was the moment. Not the emails. Not the mortgage. That moment. That was when I knew. This woman, the one I married 5 years ago in a vineyard under the sunset, the one I thought would build a life with me, she was gone. Replaced by a manipulative, heartless stranger in a towel, weaponizing her tears like ammunition. She wanted war? She just got one. I picked up my keys and walked straight out the door. As I got in my car, my phone buzzed again. A new email. From the bank. Final notice. Foreclosure proceedings beginning. I grinned through clenched teeth. If they wanted my name in this mess, they were about to see what I could really do with it. I drove aimlessly for half an hour, hands tight on the wheel, heart thudding like a war drum in my chest. Every red light felt like a curse, every glance at my phone made my pulse spike. I wasn't even sure where I was heading until I found myself pulling into the parking lot of a 24-hour diner we used to go to when we first started dating. The booth in the back corner was still there. We used to sit there for hours, laughing, drinking cheap coffee, pretending we were building something permanent. Now it felt like a crime scene. I ordered black coffee, no cream, no sugar, just like my mood. I stared out the window, and my mind went wild, flipping through every moment of the last 2 years like flashcards of stupidity. All the times I looked the other way when she'd disappear for hours and come back with lazy excuses. Spa day, girls' brunch, just needed to clear my head. I believed her every time. I didn't question her, didn't snoop. I thought that was respect. Turns out it was just blind faith in someone who didn't deserve it. My phone buzzed again. A text. From her. Come home. We need to talk. I stared at it for a full minute. No apology. No explanation. Just another order. I didn't reply. I couldn't. My blood was still boiling, but under that was something worse, this suffocating sadness that I couldn't shake off. The kind that comes when you realize the person lying next to you in bed every night might have been a stranger all along. I sat there until the coffee got cold. I tried to plan my next move, tried to imagine what I'd do tomorrow, next week, next month. But all I could see was her face when I said the name Ty. She didn't flinch. She didn't deny it. She just looked bored. Like she'd been waiting for me to catch up. I paid my bill and headed back, not because I wanted to see her, but because I had something to finish. When I got home, the lights were on. Her car was still in the driveway. She was in the kitchen, wearing that fake calm expression, like nothing had happened. I walked in, silent. She didn't speak either. We just stared at each other for a moment, like two predators circling the same kill. I talked to Angela, she said finally, as if that was supposed to impress me. You mean the woman living in a house I'm apparently responsible for? I asked. Her eyes narrowed. You don't have to keep being dramatic. I told you, I did it for them. They were drowning. So you thought it made sense to forge my name? Put me on the hook for a house that isn't mine? Do you even hear yourself? You would have said no, she snapped. Like you always do when it's about my family. No, I said, stepping closer. I say no when people try to take advantage of me. That's called boundaries, Emily. Try it sometime. She sneered. You're not some saint, James. You haven't been a real husband in years. You work, you sleep, you disappear into your own little world. I needed someone who saw me. And you found that in some loser named Ty? Ty makes me feel alive, she said, her voice rising. He listens. He wants me. You think this is just about the mortgage? You've been checked out for so long, I forgot what it felt like to be wanted. I stared at her. This wasn't guilt. This wasn't remorse. This was entitlement. You're unbelievable, I whispered. You destroy everything and still think you're the victim. She scoffed. I did what I had to do. You don't like it? Leave. I nodded slowly, then turned and walked upstairs. I packed a bag in silence. Just a few things: laptop, clothes, chargers. I wasn't sure where I was going yet, but I knew I couldn't stay here another minute. When I came back down, she was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, eyes dry. "You're really doing this?" she asked, like she couldn't believe I had the audacity. I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel angry. I felt free. "I'll have a lawyer contact you tomorrow," I said. "And don't worry, I'll make sure the bank knows exactly how you forged my signature. Hope Ty knows a good attorney." She stood up, face flushed. "You're making a huge mistake, James." "No," I said, opening the door. Staying was the mistake. Leaving is just finally waking up. And I walked out. Just like that. No slam of the door. No last look. Just silence. I checked into a cheap motel on the edge of town that night. The kind of place with flickering hallway lights and floral-patterned bedspreads that smelled faintly of old cigarettes and disappointment. The guy at the front desk didn't ask questions. He just handed me a key and slid the paper over for a signature. The irony didn't escape me. At least the signature was mine. I dropped my bag on the floor and sat on the edge of the bed. My hands were still shaking, and my thoughts were a mess of rage, disbelief, and that gnawing sense of failure. I wasn't just mad at her. I was mad at myself. How the hell did I not see it coming? Was I that blind? That trusting? I reached for my phone, scrolled through photos like a masochist. Birthday dinners, beach trips, anniversary selfies. We looked happy. She looked happy. But now, I wondered how much of it was real. How many of those smiles were just masks? And Ty, that name made my skin crawl now. I didn't know what he looked like, but I pictured a smug face, some clown with a gym body and zero ambition, sliding into my life through the cracks I didn't even know existed. It wasn't just the affair. It was everything else. The lies layered on lies, the manipulation, the way she used me like a bank, a placeholder, a fool. And the way she acted like I was lucky to even have her, as if her cheating and fraud were somehow my fault. Sleep never came. I just stared at the ceiling, reliving every argument we ever had, every time I let her guilt trip me, every time I backed down to avoid a fight. I thought I was being a good husband. No, I was just being quiet while she sharpened the knife. By morning, I had a plan. I called a lawyer, explained the mortgage situation, the forgery, the infidelity. The guy on the other end whistled low and said, "Sounds like you've got a hell of a case." Good. I wanted her to feel it. Around noon, I drove back to the house, my house, technically. She was gone, probably at work or with him, but that didn't matter. I wasn't there to fight. I was there to take what was mine. I walked through the door like a ghost. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. I grabbed my documents, hard drives, a few photo albums that didn't have her in them, and my father's watch from the bedroom drawer. I left everything else. The couch we picked out together, the bed we shared, the framed wedding photo, let it rot. Before I walked out, I left a manila envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside was a printed letter from my lawyer. She'd see it the moment she got home. And taped to the top was a sticky note with 3 words, written in black Sharpie. "You chose this." I walked out, shut the door softly behind me. Back in the car, I didn't feel victorious. There was no swell of triumph, no rush of revenge. Just an aching emptiness. Because when someone betrays you like that, when someone uses you and then flips it around like you're the problem, it doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your sense of self. You start to question everything. Was she always like this? Or did I turn her into it? Did I miss red flags because I didn't want to see them? Or did she just get better at hiding the poison? I didn't know. Still don't. All I knew was this. I was done being quiet. I was done playing nice. And next time someone puts my name on something without asking, they're going to wish they hadn't. A few days passed, and I didn't hear from her. Not a call. Not a text. Not even a damn email asking about the letter on the counter. That silence wasn't peace. It was a calculated move. She was waiting. Waiting to see what I'd do. Waiting to play victim when the fallout started. That was her game. Always let someone else make the first move, then cry when it blows up. But I wasn't biting. Instead, I kept moving. Met with the lawyer again. We started the paperwork. Divorce, fraud report, mortgage dispute. He said I had a good chance of not only clearing my name from the debt but possibly pressing charges, too. That word, charges, tasted good. Like justice with a side of hell yes. The best part? I hadn't even begun with Ty yet. I was sitting at a coffee shop downtown, scanning through my emails, when a message popped up from an unknown address. No subject line. Just an attachment in 3 words. Thought you should know. I paused. Opened it. It was a video. Grainy, dark, clearly taken on a phone through a cracked door or window. I tapped play and watched. There she was. Emily, my wife. Naked under a bedsheet, curled up next to a man I assumed was Ty. They were laughing, whispering something I couldn't hear. And then, just before the video cut out, he kissed her shoulder and said, "You sure he's not going to find out?" Her answer? James is clueless. He still thinks we're just having issues. He's too soft to do anything even if he did find out. My stomach turned. Not because of what I saw, but because of how easy it had all been for them. How relaxed. How casual. Like it was a weekly routine. I didn't recognize the email address, but I had a feeling who sent it. Angela. Emily's sister. Probably trying to save her own skin. Maybe scared I'd expose the mortgage fraud. Maybe pissed at Emily for dragging her into it. Didn't matter. The video was gold. I forwarded it to my lawyer. That same night, my phone finally lit up with a text from Emily. "We need to talk. Now." I ignored it. 5 minutes later, another one. "Don't make this worse than it already is." Worse? I laughed. Out loud. In my motel room, alone, like a man who'd finally gone off the rails. Worse was already behind us. Now we were on the edge of something else. Something darker. Then the knock came. I peeked through the peephole. Emily. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her makeup was faded, hair messy, and for the first time, really the first time, she looked small. I opened the door but didn't let her in. "You've got 2 minutes," I said. She looked shocked. Like she expected me to crumble the second I saw her. "I know you're mad," she started, "but you're taking this too far. We can fix this, James. We can start over. I made a mistake." "Okay, but you." I cut her off. "You forged my name." I was desperate, she snapped, dropping the act. "They were going to lose their house. And you were screwing Ty at the same time. How convenient." Her face twitched, just for a second. Then she went cold again. "Fine," she hissed. "You want to be a victim? Be a victim. But dragging this out, sending lawyers after me, that's petty. That's not love." I leaned in, just a little. Just enough for her to hear every word. "This isn't about love anymore," I said. "This is about consequences." She rolled her eyes. "You're not strong enough to see this through." I smiled. I already did. And I shut the door in her face. She didn't knock again. She just stood there for a few seconds, probably stunned that the man she once manipulated like a puppet had just cut her strings. Then I heard her heels click down the walkway, fast and sharp like she was stomping away from a problem she couldn't control. I sat down on the edge of the bed, heart pounding, but not from panic, from adrenaline. For the first time in years, I felt in control. Not over her, but over myself. The spell was broken. The next morning, the storm hit. Angela called. Her voice was frantic. "She told Mom and Dad you threatened her," she said without even saying hello. "She's trying to spin this into emotional abuse, James. Said you were unstable. I just thought you should know. She's going to try to ruin you before you can ruin her." I closed my eyes and took a breath. "Thanks," I said. "Already expected that." Angela paused. "You know, if I'm being honest," she continued, "I always thought something was off about her. She was good at making people feel crazy, even when she was the one doing the damage." That made me pause. "Why'd you send me that video?" Angela hesitated. "Because I felt like garbage knowing what she was doing. And because if she's willing to drag me and Mark into this with the mortgage thing, what do you think she's going to do to you when the walls close in?" Fair point. After we hung up, I sent everything I had: emails, forged documents, the video, even a screenshot of her threatening to tell the cops I was dangerous, to my lawyer. By the afternoon, we had filed everything. Then came the call I had been waiting for. The bank. The fraud investigation had been opened. My name would be cleared if the signature was proven forged, and with the notary connection being a personal friend of her mother, it looked suspicious as hell. They'd already flagged the document for handwriting inconsistencies. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "You think you've won? You're going to regret this. You're not built for this kind of fight." No name. Just venom. I stared at the screen for a long time before deleting it. I didn't need to respond. My silence was the loudest response she could get. 2 days later, she served me with papers, trying to claim emotional distress, trying to pin the foreclosure stress on me. She even had the nerve to request spousal support. My lawyer laughed out loud during the meeting. "She's playing desperate," he said. "Don't flinch." I didn't. Instead, I doubled down. I called in every favor, collected every receipt. Every transfer I made from my account to hers. Every message where she admitted to cheating. The whole digital trail. I was building a damn fortress. And she didn't know it yet. But the day was coming when she'd walk into court thinking she had me by the throat and find out the knife was already in her back. Funny thing was, I didn't even want revenge anymore. Not really. I just wanted out. Clean. Free. With my name mine again. But if she wanted to fight, then she'd better hope Ty was as tough as he looked shirtless in those hotel selfies, because she was going to need someone to catch her when the world she built on lies finally collapsed. 2 weeks later, we were standing in court. She showed up in a beige suit, hair done like she was auditioning for a political campaign, and a face that looked like she'd practiced the expression in a mirror. Soft, fragile, rehearsed. Ty wasn't with her. Of course not. She needed to look like the abandoned wife now. I sat across from her, jaw tight, hands folded. My lawyer did the talking. I didn't have to say much. The evidence spoke for itself. The judge raised an eyebrow more than once, especially at the part where she forged my signature, submitted a mortgage application with falsified documents, and used a family connection to notarize the whole mess. Her lawyer tried to spin it. Said I had verbally consented. Said we were estranged and communicating poorly. That's when we dropped the video. My lawyer played it from his tablet. The room went still. The judge didn't even blink until the part where she said, "James is clueless. He still thinks we're just having issues. He's too soft to do anything even if he did find out." That was the moment she broke. Her lawyer tried to pause the playback, but the judge waved his hand like, "Let it roll." Emily didn't say a word. Didn't even look at me. She just stared forward like someone had turned off the power inside her. After that, it moved fast. The judge ruled in my favor. Mortgage fraud, under investigation. My name cleared. Spousal support? Denied. Emotional distress claim? Thrown out. When the session ended, she walked past me in the hallway, eyes cold, lips tight. No apology. No shame. Just a whisper as she passed. "You think you won?" I turned to her, voice low and calm. "I didn't win. You lost. All by yourself." She walked away. Later that night, I got a call. Unknown number again. I let it go to voicemail. When I played it, it was Ty. His voice was strained. Drunk maybe. Angry. "I don't know what you told her, man, but she's losing it. Saying she's gonna burn everything down. Saying I used her. I didn't ask for any of this, okay? This whole thing's toxic." Click. Perfect. Exactly what she deserved. I slept better that night than I had in years. Weeks went by. Divorce finalized. Name cleared. Debt erased. Freedom. And then, out of nowhere, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address. I almost tossed it. But I opened it. It was from her. 2 pages. Messy handwriting. A full confession. She admitted it all. The cheating. The lies. The fraud. She said Ty left her. Said her parents blamed her for the mortgage collapse. Said she was staying with a friend until she could figure things out. Said I didn't deserve any of it. Then the last line. "If you ever think about me again, I hope you think about who I could have been if I had just loved you the way you loved me." I folded the letter and threw it into the fire pit outside my new place. I watched it burn until the words curled and turned to ash. I wasn't going to carry her guilt anymore. She was never going to be the woman she could have been. And I wasn't the man she thought she could break. The flames hissed softly as the last corner of the letter blackened and curled inward, vanishing into itself like her lies had. I stood there in the cool night air, alone but unshaken, staring into the pit not with sadness, but with finality. She was gone. Not just out of my house, not just out of my finances, not just out of the courts. Out of my life. Out of my soul. For the first time in a long time, there was no weight on my chest. No suspicion. No second-guessing my worth, my instincts, my sanity. I wasn't living in someone else's performance anymore. I had dragged myself out of her twisted circus, and I hadn't just survived, I'd come out stronger. I took a deep breath and looked up at the stars. They didn't feel distant anymore. This whole thing, as painful as it was, taught me something I should have learned years ago. Never mistake chaos for passion. Never confuse manipulation with love. And never, ever ignore the feeling in your gut that something's off, because that's the version of you that hasn't been lied to yet. If you're reading this and you're with someone who disrespects you, uses you, cheats and spins it to be your fault, walk. No, run. It will not get better. They will not change. And your silence will only feed the monster. I lost time, energy, money, and peace, but I got me back. And that's worth everything. So now? Now I live in a house where my name is on one mortgage, mine. I wake up without looking over my shoulder. I laugh for real. I trust my own voice again. And I don't hate her. Not anymore. Because you can't hate a storm for tearing your roof off. You just rebuild. Stronger. Wiser. Fireproof. So here's my advice. If someone lights a match behind your back, don't waste time yelling. Build a life so bright, they burn from the reflection. And never hand your peace over to someone who couldn't even protect your name. That chapter's done. She's done. And I've just started page 1 of something better.